The Israeli people lost a father, a grandfather of the Israeli nation.
The former Prime Minister of Israel, Shimon Peres, dies just 2 weeks after suffering a stroke.
We are black people and we shouldn't have to feel like this. We shouldn't have to protest because y'all are treating us wrong.
A young girl pleads for peace as police kill another unarmed black man in a San Diego parking lot. And a controversial scientific breakthrough allows a couple to finally have a child using 3 sets of DNA. Hi, and welcome to Humber News. I'm Brandon Richard Austin, coming to you from our newsroom here at Humber College North Campus. It's a somber day for people in Israel. Former leader Shimon Peres has died at the age of 93. His reach as an Israeli statesman extended across the globe. Peres served as prime minister, president, and in 1994 won a Nobel Peace Prize for his work on the Oslo Peace Accord. He died in a Tel Aviv hospital after suffering a stroke 2 weeks ago. He will be remembered as a symbol of peace in the international community.
But he will never depart from our hearts and from our memories. His name will be forever engraved in the story of the rebirth of the Jewish people.
Justin Trudeau will be among other world leaders attending the funeral on Friday. U.S. President Barack Obama, Prince Charles, and UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon will also be in Jerusalem to pay their respects. Another fatal police shooting has ignited protests in San Diego, California. It comes in the wake of recent killings of black men in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and Charlotte, North Carolina. Protesters turned out overnight to demonstrate against the latest police killing. Officials say the man was acting erratically outside a mall. Officers on the scene say he took what they called a shooting stance when they fired the shots.
The male subject paced back and forth while the officers tried to talk to him. At one point, the male rapidly drew an object from his front pants pocket, placed both hands together on it, and extended it rapidly towards the officer, taking what appeared to be a shooting stance.
However, witnesses say he was shot with his arms up. Police say his sister placed the call to them to say he was not acting like himself. Davis has urged the community to stay calm. He says a thorough investigation will take place. This latest police killing comes on the heels of last week's fatal shooting of Keith Lamont Scott in Charlotte, North Carolina. The killing sparked days of protests in the city. At the first meeting of Charlotte City Council since his death, people have expressed their anger at the way officials handled the shooting. Among the speakers was this 10-year-old girl.
We are black people and we shouldn't have to feel like this. We shouldn't have to protest because y'all are treating us wrong. We do this because we need to and have rights. It's a shame that our fathers and mothers are killed and we can't even see them anymore. That's right. It's a shame that we have to go to the graveyard and bury them. And we have tears, and we shouldn't have tears.
Speakers at the council meeting expressed frustration with racial discrimination. Many are demanding that the mayor, police chief, and city council members resign. News today of a huge advancement in reproductive science. A baby has been conceived using a new technique that combines DNA from 3 different parents. The procedure was performed for a Jordanian couple who have lost several children to Leigh syndrome. The disease is carried in the mother's egg cells. To get around the problem, scientists got a healthy donor egg from another woman and swapped in the nucleus from the mother's egg. The donor's disease-free egg is fertilized by the father's sperm and then implanted into the mother. The baby was born 5 months ago and doctors are keeping a close eye on him. He's said to be in good health. International prosecutors investigating the downing of a Malaysian airliner 2 years ago say the missile that brought it down was Russian. Investigators say the missile was launched from territory in the Ukraine that was controlled by Russian troops at the time, and that the launcher was later taken back to Russia. Russian officials are rejecting the conclusion, saying they're extremely political and its missiles never shot down the plane. They've presented several theories about what happened in the 2 years since the airliner was shot down. There's a makeshift memorial on the site of the village of the incident, decorated with toys. To Syria now, where airstrikes in the besieged city of Aleppo are intensifying. The latest video uploaded on social media today shows the aftermath of the airstrikes. The World Health Organization says 2 hospitals were hit. At least 6 people have been killed in the attack. Russian-backed Syrian forces have launched a fierce campaign to take control of rebel-held areas. Government forces have begun ground operations to try and recapture more territory. Intensive bombing has killed hundreds of people since the ceasefire collapsed last week. 5 people are dead and more than 600 injured as Hurricane Maggie ripped through China. Residents are relocating after high floodwaters have forced them to evacuate their villages. Rescue workers spent hours helping relocate stranded villagers. Power was cut to much of the region but has been restored to about half of the people. Maggie will weaken now and continue its path south. Is there life on Mars? We're not sure, but there could be soon. American aerospace manufacturer SpaceX has announced an ambitious new plan to colonize the Red Planet. SpaceX has released a simulation of the proposed mission. The company says its Mars rocket could hold up to 100 people plus cargo. SpaceX CEO Elon Musk says the project could launch as soon as 2022. Musk estimates that the current cost of sending a human to Mars is $10 billion. He says he hopes to bring this down drastically. We can send people to Mars, but we can't seem to fix the Presto problems here at home. Presto says less than 1% of its new fare card readers are out of service at any given time, but an audit shows 5 to 6% of devices on TTC streetcars aren't working. The cellular system in place to detect Presto malfunctions is also malfunctioning. In the meantime, TTC workers are in charge of checking the readers in person. Here at Humber, paramedic students are raising money and awareness for themselves and helping you at the same time. Alyssa Souza-Kerpal has more on the story.
I'm supporting the cause.
Paramedic students held a charity event for the CN Tower climb happening on October 22nd. Paramedic students checked vitals and blood pressure. Second-year paramedic student Ian Ikes said what people can expect at this event.
But it's a very useful thing that paramedics collect. So we've got our monitors down here where we can look at things like heart rate. We can actually look at the waveform produced electrically in your heart, about blood pressure, heart rate.
Each person received a paper showing their heart activity for reference. Health and Science staff member Dia Gonzalez said she came to support the paramedic students.
Came out to support the paramedic program. It's a very comprehensive program, and so I'd like to support the students and check my vital signs.
These electrodes are placed behind both wrists and behind both calves. All proceeds from this event go to the United Way charity. Their goal is $10,000. Alyssa Souza-Kerpal, Humber News.
Torontonians have been experiencing higher than normal temperatures this summer. Reports say that the blistering heat may have affected wildlife and forestry. Sveta Soloveva went to the Humber Arboretum to find more on the story.
Unusually warm weather continues surprising Torontonians. According to Environment Canada, last 5 months were the hottest months in 78 years history of Toronto. The average between the high and the low temperature was 23 Celsius throughout the summer. Drought, new colors, and mosquitoes are some of the effects of the warmer weather on Humber Arboretum, experts say.
A bit of a drought that happened here, so our swamp completely dried up. It might be a little bit greener than it normally is, so we had more risk of mosquitoes and black flies living here at the Arboretum.
Humber Arboretum experts say the high temperature can bring both positive and negative changes to the environment.
So there are some advantages for animals for their, health in regards to migration that can help them. Warmer temperatures can do. It can give them a better chance of having a successful migration. So they're not being hit by cold temperatures before they try to make this large journey. They have more time to possibly build up food stock. But again, like I said, with warmer temperatures, parasites, those types of things can also have a longer life cycle and so may have an adverse effect.
There's possibly a benefit of the changing temperatures because we're just on the edge of the Carolinian zone of ecosystems, so we'll see more and more cooler things that don't usually come up to Toronto, further south living things. So maybe some new birds will be making permanent residence here. Maybe some of them won't even leave for the winter if it's not that cold. It's not especially good for the ecosystem, but it might be cool for us to see some new stuff and have new trees growing here that usually can't survive here.
Even though now we don't see a big change in the environment, we can see it in October when the birds start migrating. Sveta Solovyeva, Humber News.
A new study says the whole idea that we eat because we're stressed could be a myth. Here's Ruth Escarlon with the details.
Do you believe you can eat your way through stress? According to a new study from Biological Psychology, stress eating is a myth. In this study, 59 volunteers filled out a survey to determine whether they fit into the 3 types of eating styles. Restrained eaters who monitor and restrict their food intake, external eaters who eat when they see or smell food, and eaters who feel emotional. Tracy Sindri, a Humber professor who is a registered dietitian, is skeptical about the study.
For me, when I look at a study like that, it's kind of a very a startup study. It's interesting, but it's not something I would base decisions on. Far more research needs to be done before we can really unpack this and make conclusions.
Contrary to popular belief, the research finds that stress doesn't always lead to overeating. Ruth S. Garland, Humber News.
When we come back, we'll tell you what's happening in the world of sports. And Brittany Billette will have your 3-day forecast.
Break, I have your 3-day forecast and a look ahead to October conditions. You won't want to miss this.
For the first time in history, a meme has been declared a hate image. The Anti-Defamation League is listing Pepe the Frog as a hate symbol. The site puts Pepe along the lines of the swastika, Ku Klux Klan, and a Confederate flag. The group says the meme's popularity has made him an unwilling mascot for hate groups. Pepe was created in 2005 by Matt Fury for a comic book called Boys Club, but is known on the internet as Sad Frog. Donald Trump and his son have also retweeted the meme. We're going to take a short break, but for now we leave you with this. The first set of twin pandas have been welcomed to the Erdo Zoo in China. The living arrangements are pretty posh. They get their own little cottage with indoor insulation and natural lighting. As far as food goes, the girls will never have to worry about bamboo deprivation. There's an on-site emergency bamboo greenhouse for the moments when the twins need a snack.